It's my pleasure to introduce your guest speaker this week. It's Teamwork's co-founder and Chief Technology Officer, Dan Mackey.
Nice to be here on Friday, and thank you everyone for joining.
We're 3 months into this quarantine. We're all trying to find and maintain that right balance, regardless if you're living alone or with others. Where are you joining me from today, and how are you finding home/work life?
So at the moment, Alan, I'm sitting in my own office at home. Unfortunately, my office has turned into a bit of a dumping ground for everything. So I'm just trying to do the best I can. It's challenging with my wife working as well, and we have the kids at home. So instead of working from home, we're at home trying to work. So what keeps me sane though is I've got a lovely view outside of the countryside, and there was about 3 small rabbits that are recently born. So when I'm feeling a little bit stressed, I can just go out, have a look at the rabbits. Fortunately, we also have a hawk living by, and he took 2 of them. But there's one guy left, and my daughters have called him Kevin, so he keeps me occupied during the day. Yeah, so other than that, Peter and myself always, like, we live teamwork. We consistently, we're always thinking about teamwork, how to make it better. So nothing has changed in that regard. What has changed though is you're constantly on call with the kids here as well. You know, you're not working your regular hours. I find that a bit challenging, and I miss the social interaction as well. I miss the office. I miss just walking into somebody's office, having a quick chat, and some great ideas come out of those quick chats as well. You know? So I'm looking forward to getting back to the office in a couple of months.
Just to start off, can you give us a background on our tech operations here in Teamwork?
Yeah, sure. So for people joining us, we have 5 products. We've got Teamwork Chat, we've got Teamwork Spaces, we've got Teamwork, which is our project management suite, we've got Teamwork CRM, and we've got Teamwork Desk, which is our support tool. Those 5 products are backed up then by other departments on the technical side of the company. We've got a platform team, and they develop the infrastructure and the supporting services that those products need. So for example, there's no point in each product implementing the same login system. So they would look after Launchpad, and there's no point in them creating their own checkout system. So we've got Teamwork Checkout as well. So platform do a great job keeping all those common services up and running and developing. So we have the mobile apps then as well. So the mobile team, we split them into 2. So we've got iOS and we've got Android developers supporting our other products. And of course, for quality and testing, we have a fantastic testing department. They also contribute to all the products. They're like an extra member on those teams that provide the testing and QA services. We run everything on AWS. Peter and myself learned the hard ways when we started 13 years ago as a consultancy, and we needed something to manage our own business. We built Teamwork. We ran it at the time on our own shared infrastructure. We had some servers in Dublin, and we put Teamwork on that, and when it outgrew, we plugged in a second server, and then Teamwork was taking off, so it needed to find its own home. So we found a company over in America. This is pre-now cloud computing, pre-AWS or Google or anything like that. So we went into a co-location hosting provider. I remember 1 week the whole thing went down, and we just could not get in contact with these people over in America. So we said, okay, let's try this thing called AWS. And we've been happy out now on AWS for the last, I think, maybe 9 years. So all our infrastructure runs on AWS. We find it suits us because it's better to use something that's off the shelf and make the maintenance and the hosting of that the problem of AWS, you know, and we can get on and do what we do best, which is build business applications. From our stack, we've simplified it, and we've taken the approach that every team in the company uses the same technologies, and that's really important to gain the efficiencies and to be able to produce the quality of apps that we do produce with a relatively small team. I mean, out of the 250 people in the company, half of those are on the product side of the house, and even out of that, half of those are developers, if you take out testing, infrastructure, designers. So with a small team, we're producing real world-class applications, and to get to that, we have to do it by being clever with our time and clever with our resources and sharing libraries across teams. So we've settled on Vue.js on the front side. We've settled on Go for our backend services. We use a MariaDB database, and we use Redis for caching. And then we use services like Elastic Cache to make search fast. Kubernetes would be our container management tool of choice. So we try and keep that nice and tight. It also helps us to recruit easier as well. So people, they know exactly what they'll be working on. And we can also move resources around teams as needed. I think that kind of sums up where we are with the technology side of it. Our overall vision is a suite of integrated business applications. So a lot of the teams would be working very closely together, especially around this time of the year now. We're coming into the end of Q2. We're coming into Q3, so all the teams right now are trying to finish their goals for this quarter and also plan for next quarter as well. So they're communicating across function as well to see is there anything that they need to work together on. We don't subscribe to any individual methodology. We kind of look at all the methodologies out there and we take the best from each one, and we take some practices that would suit our teams and the way we want to work, because we want to remain agile and we want to be able to react fast to customer requests or maybe changes in the competitive landscape, or even new ideas that we've come up with ourselves on how to improve the product. So for instance, every team in the company would do a daily stand-up, and that's just so everyone knows exactly what their team members are working on, and maybe some person on the team is blocked and another person can help them out. So we wouldn't say that we're full like agile, and we kind of let each team run the kind of methodology that makes them successful.
From a technical perspective, what is your view of the business world at this point in time?
If we look at our own business, there are certain products that we have in our suite that are really resonating with customers at this time. I mean, Teamwork itself, our project management suite, I mean, that's one place where all information is in one central place, and you kind of mitigate against the bus factor as well. And the bus factor is that one person has all the documentation for a project and they get hit by a bus and everyone is off track then. So having everything in a central place, that has really resonated. I think people as well, this isn't by choice. They have been forced to work remotely and they've had to quickly adapt and change how they're working. A lot of them may not know that these types of tools are out there and will actually make them productive. So I think even when this is over, I think this whole COVID situation has educated people on how they can run their business more efficiently and more effectively, and even more price sensitive as well. You know, you can consolidate a lot of services as well by using a business operating system like Teamwork. You know, you could use any one of our 5 products and get rid of, let's say, 5 other vendors. And that kind of lends itself as well to the security of things. It's really hard and challenging in this day and age to onboard a person into your company. You got to remember, oh, we have them on this app over here, we got this app over here. Eventually, you're trying to onboard them onto 35 or 40 different applications that every business now needs to function correctly. And then unfortunately, when you have to leave somebody go, or when somebody moves on to better opportunities or other opportunities, you have to offboard them as well. And you got to make sure that all bases are covered there. So with Teamwork, for example, if you adopt our suite of products, the minute a user is added, they're added to all the 5 products. And when you remove that user, they're instantly removed from all our 5 products. I think, as I said, when this COVID situation is over, the way people work will change. And I think it's opened people's eyes as well that you don't have to have 3 offices, maybe 2 offices will do. And you don't have to have somebody sitting in an office building 9 to 5. If you just set the goals and everybody knows exactly what they have to do, then just let them achieve those goals, and it doesn't matter what hours of the day they actually work. You know?
My next question was, it's actually overlapping with a question from somebody in the audience here. So thanks for that, Carlos. Carlos was asking, how is Teamwork preparing for a future that looks very remote?
Hi, Carlos. How are you doing? I think we were always traditionally very strong with remote workers. We have employees in 15 countries around the world. 50 of our employees roughly always worked remotely. So our tools and our practices and how we run the business was very much tuned for those 50 people. So even on a day-to-day example, instead of us having a meeting in a meeting room and patching in the remote people by video, we'd actually all embrace remote video. and we try and have that meeting remotely, because that's the only way you really feel how the people that are working remote are feeling, you know. And based on that, then we use our tools every day ourselves. Every single tool, from Teamwork Desk to Teamwork CRM, chat, all those tools we're using ourselves constantly. So that's 250 voices telling us how we can make the product better. And obviously, with great customers around the world and in every time zone possible, they're also giving us great feedback and telling us maybe there are challenges that they have. And we're looking at all these and trying to improve our products based on that feedback.
Following on from Carlos's question there, speaking more to the product, how have you adjusted your development priorities to meet the demands of moving to remote working?
We always had ambitions, and we always have we have a roadmap for each product of what we ideally would love to see ourselves, or what customers have asked for, or influenced by how technology is moving, or other competitors or other applications that we admire. But we were forced as well to really accelerate some parts of those plans as well. So for example, Teamwork Chat, we always wanted to add video chat, and we wanted to add voice calling. It was always going to be on the roadmap. It was always something we might get to down the line. But during this COVID pandemic, remote tools like that and having video chats ad hoc really, I mean, look at the traction that Zoom and Microsoft Teams have got. And our customers were requesting the same from Teamwork Chat. And we saw usage of Teamwork Chat double as well. We got a 50% increase since March in the usage of Teamwork Chat. So it really showed that there was an appetite for video chat, and the team absolutely worked their socks off and have this out now. So we're looking forward to, in a couple of weeks now, to releasing video in Teamwork Chat. Our integrations and platform work as well has really changed during this pandemic. I think we've really looked at what types of integrations people would like to see and what other tools that they're using as they're being forced into a remote work environment. And how can we, it goes back to the previous question, how can we adapt our tools to the changing work practices out there? And I think it very much comes down to looking at the roadmap, looking at the feedback, and looking at the other applications people are using, and see how can we cohesively integrate with the other applications that they're using.
And just while we're on the topic of video chat, as well as Teamwork Chat, you mentioned that there was an increase in 50%. Were there any platform or infrastructure challenges that arose from that spike in usage?
We're always planning for growth. So we're always putting more capacity than is required at the time behind the infrastructure of our products. We want to be at least maybe 25%, if not 40% ahead capacity-wise. And using something like Kubernetes, which I mentioned earlier, we now have a scalable infrastructure behind us, so that at peak times we can scale up our pods, and when it gets a little quieter, they can scale back down again. So we'll be putting more effort in that going forward, and trying to improve areas of the business right now that may not be in the cluster, and that's just a constant evolution. And we're always looking at peer companies out there as well that we admire. And I mean, the tech industry in general are very open in how they solve challenges, and we're a learning company, and we learn from everywhere. So we're constantly looking at how we can improve teamwork.
As a CTO or an avid techie, how does the Teamwork Suite actually help you become more productive? So this is more about process.
I suppose for me, I mean, I've been using Teamwork itself for 13 years. I built my house using Teamwork. I planned everything around that and brought the architects in on that, and I forced them to use the product that I built. I also got married on it. I mean, we planned our wedding using Teamwork. But my day-to-day work, everything is driven from Teamwork. And a lot of the requirements that I need as well get kind of fed into the product development and roadmap, because I am a user and I understand the challenges of it. From 7 o'clock in the morning when I wake up, the first thing I reach for is my iPhone, and the first application I'll open would be Teamwork Mobile. And I'll look at my day, and I'll look at my tasks that are due today, and I might reorganize my day using the iPhone app. And that kind of sets me up, and it gets me thinking what I have to do today. Then I usually get up, then look after the kids. In the current situation, as I said, my wife and myself are both working from home, and this the schools are closed, so somebody has to look after the 3 girls. So I look after them up to lunchtime while my wife works, and then I switch over and I work till generally about 7 o'clock. And all through that time, though, I'm able to communicate with anyone using Teamwork Chat, usually on my phone. So nobody knows I'm not sitting at my desk, and they're still getting the answers or the direction that they need. Teamwork Desk, I get pinged on tickets. If a customer has a question and maybe the support staff may not know the answer, or maybe somebody has a particular question that maybe I could help with, it's very easy on my phone to quickly fire up the desk mobile app and answer that. And then it's very easy to, at 1 o'clock when I sit down at my desk, I just transition seamlessly over to the desktop apps and pick up where I left off on the mobile. Again, I don't think there are any tools left now, bar email, that we haven't developed ourselves that I use to get my job done. And I think it's very important for a technical company to use their own products. I think it's the only way, if you dog food them, to really find the rough edges and to really fix them. And we're very agile, and we've set our teams up to be agile. And we would do deployments maybe 2 or 3 times a day sometimes. We're constantly refining, constantly pushing out updates. And based on feedback, a bug comes in, we'd have that fixed in 5 to 10 minutes and deployed right in front of customers.
I distinctly remember when I joined Teamwork about 3 years ago now, I did notice that well, this was when I was in customer support, and I did notice that you were in quite a lot of tickets helping people out, so it definitely didn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, I think it's important as well, though, to keep your finger on the pulse. I mean, we never want to be just owners of the company and calling the shots. We actually want to get in and understand how the business is working and understand our customers, talk to our customers and understand what they need, because ultimately everything we do is for our customers. So it's important that we understand the challenges that they have, because it's only then that you can make the products better and really make the products fit what the customers are looking for.
From a technical standpoint, how would you say that you're differentiating Teamwork from the other business operating suites out there?
Yeah, I think the business operating suite in general is something that is emerging right now as a category. We want to be a leader of that category. There's no point in just saying you want to be a leader. You got to go out and do it. And I think where we differentiate ourselves from other companies trying to do this as well is that we're building a set of tools that integrate tightly together. So, for example, there's a nice way of visualizing how all our products can work together. So somebody comes to a website and they're tracked using, say, Teamwork CRM. So an opportunity comes in, it moves through the pipeline, and a deal is created then if it was successful. That deal creates a project in Teamwork Project so that the team can work on that body of work. It's supported using Teamwork Desk. So when they need support on that project, the tickets come into Teamwork Desk, and there's a tight coupling between Teamwork Projects and Teamwork Desk so that when a task is created and the developer, let's say, for example, does that body of work, the agent instantly gets notified that they can go back to the customer and confidently say that issue has been solved. In the life cycle of a project, you're going to have a huge amount of documentation, and in any company, you're going to have a lot of process. So you could store all that in Teamwork Spaces, and we have a nice integration between Teamwork Spaces and Teamwork itself as well. And then obviously to really deliver that project, you want to communicate with your team effectively, and we use Teamwork Chat for that. That's how our business operating system can help any type of business out there, but specifically agency type customers or professional services. Any company that does work with customers, Teamwork is perfect for.
My last question today, Dan, with so many different challenges arising on an almost day-to-day basis over the past few months, were there any other challenges or insights that you'd like to share?
I think, as mentioned, we always had remote workers, but you never know exactly how that feels unless you're on the other side of it. So I think as we're all remote at the moment, we've noticed that communication is key. And from the very start, back in March, we said it's imperative that we communicate openly and transparently with the company. So we did a regular weekly COVID update where we gave insights into the business, and we gave just proper communication of decisions that we were making at a leadership level. And also we wanted to bring an element of fun into those conversations as well, and learn a little bit about how our employees are coping at home, any interests that they might have. After this is all done and dusted and we're back in the office, we're going to keep that regular communication going as well. Before it was every quarter, we do an all hands. I think it's so important to communicate maybe bi-weekly and have that element of fun as well back in the company, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Personally, I hope we keep the weekly competitions going. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
something different, and I think it breaks down this like working remote can be lonely at times. Not everyone that's working remotely not everyone has their own room, and not everyone has a place in the house that is quiet that they can work, you know. So we have to be mindful of that as well, which is why we're quite relaxed in the hours that people work as well, you know. As long as they know what they have to do and they do that work to a good standard, it doesn't matter what hours they're working, you know. So we're sympathetic to that. So it's been a big learning for us as a company as well, but for the good. And I think another side of it as well that we saw was that our customers are under pressure. Everybody is in this for the first time ever, and I never thought that I'd be in this situation. There has been something that has affected the world at the same time, no matter where you are. Before, world events would be localized in specific regions, but this is everyone in this together. So we did an awful lot of work working with our customers that might be feeling the pressure of COVID. Maybe their business has gone down, maybe they need a payment break. So that was something that we as a company, it was part of our values. I mean, for Peter and myself, it's more than just the money. And we don't treat our customers as just customers. We want to actually help them and we want them to be successful. And if that means that we'll give a payment break for 2 months or 3 months to get them through this, we're more than happy to do that.
Next, we're going to move over to the audience Q&A now. And Sarah's just asking, how do you keep yourself up to date with the latest technology?
Hi, Sarah. How are you doing? I think I have a few tools in my arsenal, really. One, I mean, if you have a passion in something, you're going to go out of your way to learn everything you can about it. You'll keep on top of trends. Some of the tools I use Pocket a lot on my phone. So maybe on downtime, I'm sitting on the couch, maybe there's a film on and I'm not that interested. I'll be browsing through Twitter, LinkedIn, or a couple of tech blogs out there, Hacker News. And if I see something interesting, or it might kind of plant a seed in my mind of how we can improve teamwork by adopting this, or maybe there's something in there that we could learn from, I'll just put it into Pocket, and then I'll catch up with that at the end of the week and maybe put some tasks into teamwork to follow up myself, or maybe a couple of tasks to talk to other people in the company about this thing that I've seen, you know. So
the next question here is from Lawrence. Lawrence is asking, have you introduced a process in your development strategy that has been a real game changer for teamwork?
Hi, Lawrence. Thanks for the question. If we just forget the technology part of it at the moment, I think the biggest single thing we did as a company was adopt something which is called EOS, which is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And it's a set of 6 core tools that the whole company can get behind. And it starts with having a vision. It starts with having a 10-year vision. Where do we want to go? And that's quite aspirational, but you start to bring it down closer then to maybe a 5-year picture, or down to a 3-year picture. But then you start getting granular to a 1-year plan. And everybody can get behind that. And you break that 1-year plan down into the 4 quarters. So everybody knows on a quarterly basis what they have to do. What's the most important thing in the next 90 days that they can do to drive the business to our ultimate goal of our 10-year vision. I think that was a game changer when we put it into the company. And it also forced us to do regular, what are called level 10 meetings. And what they are basically a quick kind of checkup to see, are you on course to meet the goals that you set out for this quarter to realize the bigger picture vision. And it's just course correcting from that. So if your goals are off track, you discuss them, you try and get them back on track. I think that was the single biggest thing we did to the company to get us more efficient and more organized and actually work on the important things.
We just have time for one more question today, and it's from Carlos again, actually, and he's just asking, without disclosing confidential details, how will teamwork look like in 5 years? So what is the vision?
Hi, Carlos, how are you doing? Right now, we are focused on something we're calling the go-to-market strategy, and that's identifying the cohort of users that our products really resonate with. And through our analysis and talking to customers, we've identified that companies that do work for other companies and clients in professional services or an agency, teamwork really resonates for them. And it resonates for a lot of reasons. It resonates because all the information, it's transparent, it's in one place, it facilitates communication, and the other apps work together with teamwork to deliver what a typical agency or professional services company wants. With that in mind, in 5 years' time, we'd like to be the leader in that. When an agency thinks of what platform or what suite of products should I use to run my agency, we want them to think teamwork. And we're doing a huge amount of work right now on planning our roadmap to realize that vision. So check back in 5 years' time, Carlos, and you'll see that we're the #1 place for agencies and professional services type companies to run their business.